I was really excited when Anbernic first announced the RGDS, and I still am. It could still be a great handheld, but there's some things about it that now that we have the full reveal, specs, displays, release date, pricing, it is a little bit more disappointing than I was originally anticipating. Because primarily, the chipset is one that we have been familiar with for quite some time. It's a slightly different version of the RK3566. That chipset we've seen in a ton of handhelds. This new one we're getting though is running the RK3568. You'd think slightly bigger number, maybe slightly better performance. Well, it uses the same GPU. Yeah, it's the same G52 GPU, it has the same 4 cores. The only difference being it is 2 GHz instead of 1.8 GHz with the 66. So the RK3568 might be a little bit faster, like 10-ish% or something faster CPU wise. But in the end, it's not really going to matter that much. It's not gonna take games from being unplayable to playable. It's just not enough. It also comes with an extra gigabyte of memory than a lot of their older RK3566 based chipset devices. Those tended to have at least like 2 gigs of memory, which really wasn't enough. But I don't think 3 is also going to do any better. Retro Gamecore did a great video talking about this the other day, and he showed some testing and how the older RK3566 performed in 3DS games, and it wasn't particularly great. And Anbernic, I have some footage now have uploaded of them playing games, 3DS games, on the actual new device. And you get some audio issues, there is some minor slowdown, and notice how they're playing a lot of simpler 3DS games. You're not playing anything input sensitive, you're not going to play like a 3D platformer or 2D platformer with pinpoint accuracy. You can play something like Pokemon, which doesn't really require those fast, immediate, reactionary button inputs. If you're just playing a turn-based RPG like Pokemon, you could probably get away with it if you're okay with a less than stellar experience. But this is clearly aimed at mostly DS games, and they are trying to say you could do both, but it's really like you can play some 3DS games, but mostly gonna play original DS games. And I talked about how in my last video, the pricing might end up being just right on the very, very edge. And I was right. It's starting with no SD card, no extra whatevers at $99.99. The moment you click that ship button and you buy it and whatever, you go to checkout, it's gonna be a little more than $100 because of shipping and stuff and tax. So it's not actually gonna be a true sub $100 handheld, because in my head that would include shipping, tax, and all that kind of stuff, and it doesn't. And you can currently pre-order it. It'll start shipping out at about mid-December, which will be really close to Christmas, so I really don't think if you're planning on getting this as a Christmas present, it might not end up getting here on time. But it should be here by the end of the year or very early next year. And with most of these Anbernic devices tending to stick around quite a bit of time after they are sort of first released, if you wanted to wait and get it next year, you're more than safe to do so. I still really like the idea of this device conceptually speaking. I love the idea of them trying to market the best possible device, being incredibly cheap while trying to offer as many features as possible. That I do appreciate. It's just I feel like they made a little too many sacrifices in key areas. The screens are another sticking point. Only being 480p feels kind of bad, even though it is only just shy of $100. Some of their devices that are well under $100, like the 35 Plus or the RG406H, those have amazing screens. They're not the craziestly high resolutions, but they're nice. And this is a 480p screen, going to be blowing up DS and some 3DS games. I just don't think it's going to be especially pretty to look at, and that is going to be very unfortunate, especially for certain kinds of games, and the aspect ratios, well, clearly, like I said, designed for DS games, it does make playing PSP something that this chipset could do. Not ideal, but something that this device will be able to do quite nicely is like Dreamcast and N64, PS1. So while this device might not necessarily be the best for all DS related media, like the 3DS and stuff, you should still be able to enjoy a lot of the older systems quite well. And if you're a big fan of having your Subway Surfers or Family Guy clips on the top screen or bottom screen while you're playing a game, this device could be pretty nice for those of you who love to multitask. I personally mentioned in my original thoughts video that I really wanted this device purely for that reason, because I love playing and watching things at the same time. My ADD brain just enjoys it the right amount, and it's perfect. A lot of people originally anticipated this coming with this T620 chipset, and I really wasn't a huge fan of that idea, because if it was the T620 chipset, that would have been at least $150, at the very least. Because if I remember correctly, the Anbernic RG Slide comes with a T620 chipset, and that one's like $160 something. And that device is amazing, but that chipset is so much better that I don't see a world where they can ever make that under $100, unless it's like 5 years older than it is now. They did, though, effectively make the cheapest dual screen gaming handheld. They have achieved that at the very least, and playing actual DS games would be a great experience. And if you wanted the best way to emulate your Nintendo DS games at the cheapest possible price, outside of getting an actual 3DS, which is a very similar price to this is the best you're gonna do for a while now. Yes, there's things like the iNeo Thor and the Retroid Flip, or whatever the hell that one was called. They're great and all, but either they're missing or lacking a particular feature, or they're just too gosh darn expensive. And that's something that the RGDS actually achieved, is being a DS-style emulation handheld for under $100. You can't blame them for trying. They just unfortunately made a less than stellar showing. But I anticipate this device seeing future updates and revisions, and maybe a year or two from now, it will be at a point where I can seriously recommend it for both the Nintendo DS and 3DS emulation. But I don't think it would have been that bad if they raised the price to like 120, maybe 130 bucks. I still think it would be an amazing achievement and massive success if it was just a slightly bit more expensive to have a slightly better chipset that would actually be capable of 3DS emulation. Something I didn't talk about that I probably should have in the beginning of the video, it does come in 3 colors, black and red, which is like the dual 2-color finish thing, and turquoise blue, that's all 1 color, and polar white, which are basically the significant colors of note of some models, 3DS and DS if you didn't catch on. White is particularly known for the DSi. I'm pretty sure blue is too, and the black and red was actually the version I had of the Nintendo DS Lite. And that one alone pretty stands out to me as the one I would get if I were to be getting this device, which I'm pretty sure I am. I just might wait until sometime early next year to get it. Maybe when I have the rest of the other dual screen handhelds so I can compare them all against each other. I'll save the rest of my thoughts though for once I have a full review and finally get my hands on this device. I would love to hear what you guys think though. Are you going to be pre-ordering this device? Are you at all interested, or now that you found out what the actual specs are you disappointed and choosing to go with a different option? The one I see people all the time talking about in my comments now is the iNeo Thor. So I would love to hear what you guys think about this down below. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. All the other social media garbage down below. And last but not least, have a wonderful day.